Nevertheless, Ewan, what is Red Bull doing in the sport of cycling?
Well, what are they doing? This week we had some interesting news come out on the sort of commercial business side of cycling. Because Red Bull, the Austrian energy drink, is potentially acquiring a controlling stake of Bora Hansgrohe, as it's now known. Yes, this could mean that Red Bull will take over 51% of the team, which is enough to control it. What this could mean for the future will be very, very intriguing. We have seen Red Bull join the cycling a lot more in the past couple of years. We have Red Bull athletes competing at the top level of cycling, also in cyclocross as well. We have, of course, Wout van Aert, who we see with the Red Bull stuff all the time. Also Tom Pidcock. Anton Palzer, who rides to Bora Hansgrohe as well, is a Red Bull athlete from his mountaineering background. And also with the Roglic transfer that we got at the end of 2023, there was also talk about the influence of Red Bull in securing that deal. And we've also seen Bora Hansgrohe athletes spotted at the Red Bull training center, including Primoz Roglic. The deal hasn't been formally signed yet, but I believe there's 2 weeks until we find out about this legally. Whether it's going to be approved or not. But for the two companies, I mean, surely it'll mean more money being pumped into Bora Hansgrohe as a cycling team. The team already has a somewhat Austrian identity. They're based in southern Germany, and they have had Austrian riders for a long time and a close affiliation to Austria, where the drinks people are from. And in terms of sort of what Red Bull have done for other sports as well, they usually do bring that money and also a lot more ambition and visibility to the sport. Of course, F1 is the example we can all think of. When they jumped in sort of the late 2000s, we saw Red Bull F1 become a huge phenomenon, with Vettel finishing second in 2009, then winning the season, then all the way up to Max Verstappen's current dominance of the sport. There's also other sports that they've jumped into, and they put cliff diving on the map. They've helped with other extreme sports. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes forward. Will the team be completely rebranded as Red Bull Cycling? I know many people have been dreaming about this day for a long, long time. Will it continue as Bora Hansgrohe? We don't quite know that yet. The season's only just begun, and this deal hasn't actually been enacted in law yet. So it's a very, very intriguing chapter in the story of Bora Hansgrohe.
Does this mean we're going to get Tom Pidcock and Wout van Aert going to Bora Hansgrohe maybe?
Yeah, it does kind of raise into question what's going to happen with them. I guess they can just remain Red Bull athletes, but it does feel a bit odd that they'll be Red Bull athletes going up against a Red Bull team, potentially. That seems a little bit odd that would be the case, whether they would have to, I don't know, whether they're not allowed to wear the Red Bull stuff or whether they decide to join allegiance with Bora Hansgrohe. Who knows? That would be quite the team to have Wout van Aert on there with Primoz Roglic. Maybe that would help in him winning the Tour de France. It is interesting, and I do quite like it, having such a big name like Red Bull. Some people I know, they probably don't like it, but we were ranting and raving a couple of months ago about Amazon and Apple potentially joining the sport. Obviously, that hasn't happened, but Red Bull's still a pretty decent name, and getting that into the sport is quite a good thing, I believe, because, like you say, you were very involved in so many sports, and they seem to just have this ever-present presence. But them being involved in road cycling, not just through some individual riders, but through a potentially, full designated team, I think that would be really cool. And also, I bet their kit would slap, personally. Can you imagine? They would actually have a pretty good kit with, maybe, it would be the same colour scheme as Lidl Trek, but I bet they would do a better job.
Almost definitely. Also, what I'm intrigued about as well, because we saw it with F1 when Red Bull joined that one, is they had a whole new approach that sort of took them from the mid-table all the way to the top. They also had that feeder team, what was Toro Rosso, what's now called Alpha Tauri, or wherever it's called now. It'll be intriguing to see how they can do that here, because maybe it's a bit like sort of the Ineos network, where they have contacts, they bounce between all these different sports. Speaking of which, Dave Brailsford's been working with Manchester United this week after Jim Ratcliffe bought a huge chunk of shares in that club just before Christmas. So it'll be fascinating to see what innovations they could make for the years to come. Ralph Denk already is super ambitious. He's the guy who runs Bora Hansgrohe, and he has been quite innovative over the past couple of years. So this could be a really, really fruitful collaboration between the two. Ineos, shove it in your face.
I mean, just looking at it, like the history of the team, NetApp, all that, and then coming to this part of it, I think is quite interesting. And is Ralph Denk, is he Austrian or is he German?
I'm about to Google. Ralph Denk. I think he actually might be Austrian, but
So
German. My bad. He's Bavarian, which is close to Austria. I know. Yeah, he's from Bavaria.
do you think we're gonna get like Primoz Roglic versus Max Verstappen racing up Alpe d'Huez, him in the F1 car? I would watch that video.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, for us, we could definitely get some good marketing stuff out of this in terms of like the videos and stuff online with like collaborations with like Primoz Roglic goes skydiving. Sam Welsford tries cliff diving. You know, these kind of things, because the Red Bull marketing team is like incredibly good. And I'm sure they'll have their little minions jumping on board with the cycling stuff as well. So prepare to see viral extreme videos of the Bora Hansgrohe team in the years to come.
Primoz Roglic ski jumping with a parachute and a bike.
That's so on brand. He should work for that marketing team.
Yeah. Well, Patrick was saying that many people were against the Amazon Apple takeover. You were not, Patrick. You actually wanted the big brands, the big names to kind of elevate the whole sponsorship level of cycling. And I mean, Red Bull is so well known. But I mean, they're buying the team, so it's not like they're sponsoring. So there is a bit of a difference. So that's more of a long-term.
But then what does buying lead to? 51% control in the team. What's that going to lead to? Like probably becoming Red Bull cycling.
Yeah, I just don't think road cycling is kind of like a street. It's not, obviously there's crashes and stuff like this, but it's not like downhill mountain biking where, you know, you're probably going to crash. How are you going to get your Red Bull crowd hyped up about stage 5 of the Tour of Austria on a flat stage?
They go really quick at the end, like really fast.
Really fast.
But these are still men who wear lycra that's like 5 millimeters thick.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy when you think about it. But yeah, I mean, anything else to add on Red Bull? Are we going to see monsters being in the sport? Kind of with Mark Cavendish, that kind of thing.
Yeah. We've had a lot. I mean, there's been like Coca-Cola used to be in the sport prior to the kind of, you know, US Postal thing. They were around. And yeah, then post that, it's kind of cycling's just taken a bit of a dip in terms of people wanting to be associated with the sport from a sponsor perspective. And it's just sort of, you can just only hope that through getting Red Bull in here, it's kind of like a show of confidence and other bigger brands get involved in it. And as a consequence, everybody benefits and, you know, the sea rises and we're all just boats getting elevated upwards.
It's also like consumer goods as well. Like you can go to the store and buy a Red Bull where like Ineos is huge, but who's jumping online to buy chemicals and petrol and all that, you know?
All the time.
That's what I spend all my time doing when I'm not talking about cycling.
Yeah, but Ineos isn't actually for that. It's not for the chemicals company. It's for their 4x4 car, which I've never seen one. I've never seen one.
I have.
Oh, okay, there we go.
They're so big. It's honestly a turret away from being on the Ukraine-Russian border.
Will this then be used as like a vehicle for like Red Bull zero calories, zero caffeine, whatever, like
Probably.
Red Bull Twisted Tea, seltzer kind of thing or whatever?
I mean, it is better that they are buying a portion of the team or the controlling stake in the team, because that is the difference between Ineos Grenadiers and one of the other teams that just kind of get a sponsor attached to it, and then after 2 years, the sponsor disappears. Here, they actually have ownership. They have some skin in the game. So I like that part of it.
But then again, Bora Hansgrohe have been on this squad since 2017, and Bora's been there since 2015.
But what do you think is going to happen now? Is it going to be Red Bull, Bora Hansgrohe, powered by Hansgrohe, or whatever? However you get past the free name rule.
Red Bull Bora, powered by Hansgrohe. Imagine that. It's just like someone in a shower, like a Hansgrohe shower, drinking a Red Bull, and then afterwards, Jai Hindley goes to cook a steak on his little Bora extractor fan in his kitchen.
Oh God, are we going to see Roglic in a shower?
Many people are hoping this.
You probably will.
I see a lot of Roglic thirst traps on Twitter. People are crying out for this. Also, during the Tour de France, someone described Jai Hindley as the twink of the week. So gay Twitter would go crazy if we had a Hansgrohe shower appearance from Jai Hindley in marketing some point soon.
Okay, I'm not going to ask what twink is, but
All the viewers, Google that one.